कृष्ण संकीर्तनम नाम नामकानि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन्ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहाजनिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरिवा सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरी कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिर्हैतुकी त्वयि अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मामिषमे भवाम्बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितधूलीसदृशं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं बभूकदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनस्तु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु सेवनापरः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा welcome to devotees both online. We have around 10 devotees on the Zoom call. 5 devotees, 6 devotees in real world, in the physical world. And so we are, last week we just started a discussion on the Shikshashtakam, how this is the essence of all the Vedas, of all the teachings that Lord Krishna gave. And one of the most significant aspects of Mahaprabhu, which I was discussing last week, is that he is giving what Lord Ram gave, fearlessness. He is giving what Krishna gave, sinlessness, but he is adding one more element, which is envious, being making us non-envious. And it's a cycle that the more we are appreciating devotees, we are being non-envious, the more mercy of Mahaprabhu will be effective, and the more we take to the process of Krishna consciousness, the more and more will become non-envious. And most other processes, most other religions, even in the Vaishnava path, till now, till Mahaprabhu, till Lord Chaitanya came, the main aspiration was to go to Vaikuntha. And all the acharyas, they prompted all their followers to glorify the Supreme Lord and in the understand His majesty, understand His greatness, and understanding His greatness, you want to go to Him, you want to serve Him, because in this world nothing is great, everything is going to fall apart. Prabhupada used to say, Alexander the Great, right? The Great Britain, all these greats, or in India, Akbar the Great. So great for a while, but after that they are in the grave. So there is nothing that is uh, indestructible in this material world. So therefore, to go to a place which is eternal, and all the acharyas have prompted, have inspired their devotees to go there. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, his speciality, what he was giving to the world, especially the chanting of Mahamantra, it said that it was there even before Mahaprabhu came. Haridas Thakur, he was chanting Hare Krishna, even without connection with Lord Chaitanya. Even before he met Lord Chaitanya, he was chanting Hare Krishna. And in the Upanishads, this mantra is there. Even in the, we see in the Ganesh Puja, it ends with the Mahamantra. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So the Mahamantra, people knew about the names of Lord Krishna, the mantras, but that was taking them till Vaikuntha. But when Mahaprabhu came, Lord Krishna himself, when he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he unpacked the full glory of the Mahamantra. It is to go even beyond Vaikuntha, to go to the land of pure love, which is Vrindavan. So, even amongst all the Vaikuntha planets, there is the main mood that is there in the Vaikuntha is that of awe and reverence, that there is great respect and adoration for the Lord. And that should be there because He is the Supreme Lord. If somebody is a zamindar or is a mayor or is a president of some big company, people adore them so much. And what to speak of the Jagadish, what to speak of somebody who is the owner of all the planets. But Krishna, Lord Vishnu himself, he relishes much more when their devotees interact with him in pure love, where there is no conception that because he is God, therefore I am loving him, I am connecting to him. Not because like in Vrindavan, as in Vrindavan, not like in Vrindavan, as in Vrindavan, people connect to Krishna because he is so lovable, he is so charming. After the chapter of Govardhan Leela, the next chapter after Govardhan Leela is called as Wonderful Krishna. And Radhanath Swami Maharaj many times says this, that the discussion between the Vrajvasis was that is it that Krishna did something amazing, or is it that Krishna is amazing? So their understanding was, it was not the act that was amazing, it was Krishna who is amazing. Because if you go by acts, if tomorrow somebody else lifts the Govardhan hill, will you make him Giridhari? Hanumanji also lifted Govardhan by the power of blessings of Lord Ram. And if the activities are amazing of God, of course they are amazing, but the devotee's focus is not on the activities, but it is on the actor. And the more he acts, the more their charm is towards that person who is doing, Krishna who is doing it. This is a very subtle point, which is the difference between Goloka and Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, the amazing is the activities of Lord Vishnu. That Lord Vishnu is doing so many amazing activities. So then, anybody who does these activities is also amazing. Of course, they also have direct appreciation for Lord Vishnu. But in Vrindavan, their amazement is not to what Krishna is doing. Now, sometimes a lover is there. Now, for the lover, it just doesn't matter what the beloved is doing. Whatever the baby does, whatever the beloved does, it charms them. It may be just walking. It may be just talking. Now those acts are not something amazing, but it is the person with whom you are connected. So in Vrindavan, the devotees, the more Krishna is acting amazingly, the more for them Krishna becomes more and more amazing. So Maharaj says, it is not that Krishna is doing wonderful activities, it is Krishna who is wonderful and he is doing all these activities. Otherwise, when Krishna will do some so-called ordinary activities, say crying or something else. Now that activity, is it amazing? Yes. Lifting of Govardhan is amazing. But crying, is that amazing? But because Krishna does who is amazing, that activity also becomes amazing. Damodar Lila. Rudantam muhur netram yugmam rijantam. When Krishna cries, Krishna's cry is amazing. Because for the devotees, whatever Krishna does is amazing because they are connecting directly to Krishna, not his activities or not his energies. Zoom पे आने रहे. Okay. Even today I forgot to bring those headphones that will directly connect. Maybe next time. Hare Krishna. How is it now? इसको थोड़ा पास में लिखता हूँ. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I got a clearance from Tanaji that it's clear. Krishna's activities, say in the Bhagavatam, as a Varahadev, as a swine or a pig. Now for the devotees, even if he comes as a boar, as a pig, it doesn't bore them. It's amazing for them. So that's Vrindavan, where whatever Krishna does, it just charms their heart more and more towards Krishna. And Mahaprabhu especially came to relish that love that the Rajvasis have towards Krishna, that pure love towards the personality of Krishna, and to also share that. There is a nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita which says this. Prema rasa niryasa karite asvadana. So prema ras is the mellow of love. Niryasa means essence, the essence of love. Karite asvada, to taste it. And raga marga bhakti loke karite pracharan, and also to share that path of bhakti that's going to take them to that stage of love, which is raga marga, the path of affection, the path of attachment to Krishna. This is it. Karite pracharam. Rasika Shekhara Krishna Parama Karuna Ei Dui Hetu Aite Ichara Udgama. So Mahaprabhu came for these two reasons in essence. One is to taste, another is to share. And even as devotees, we should be doing these two activities. If we are followers of Mahaprabhu, we cannot neglect our own relishing in the name of just giving to others, nor in the name of relishing we neglect sharing it to others. Whatever we have got, taste it, appreciate it, relish it, and also share it to others. And Mahaprabhu is doing the same with Shikshashtakam. He is relishing himself and is also sharing that with the world. Where is the verse? Yeah. पूर्वे अष्ट श्लोक करी लोके शिक्षा दिला सेई अष्ट श्लोकेर अर्थ अपने आस्वादिला. Loke Shiksha and Apane Aswadila. He was relishing it himself and is also sharing it. I was telling last time that if you are not really relishing bhakti, then you cannot share. That's why Maharaj says that the most best preacher is a happy devotee. If someone is happy practicing bhakti, seeing that happiness, others will want to have that. But if devotees are having fights or they are having moroseness, troubles, then if they are not relishing bhakti, recently one devotee came to me and he was telling, Prabhuji, I was giving a short japa talk. So I was saying that, Prabhuji, how can I chant fast? Like, क्या हो गया? Why do you want to chant fast? He said that मुझे ना एक एक राउंड के लिए 10 मिनट लगता है, 10 minutes. And my wife, she chants fast. तो उनका 2 घंटे में हो जाता है, मुझे 3.5 घंटा लगता है. So after a round, she keeps taunting me. ये क्या कर रहे हो? You didn't come or Tyler Rapu didn't come. There's another devotee that. अरे मेरा तो कब का हो गया? What are you doing? That you are not chanting properly. Some devotees feel this way. अरे लंबा टाइम लग रहा है मतलब ठीक से हो नहीं रहा. Even if
the other way around, na? If you take less time, that means you're like speed doing something like speed dial.
that's another problem. But if things are going overboard, devotees complain. अगर जल्दी हो रहे तो they don't complain. अरे हो गया. In fact, they should be more careful. इतना जल्दी कैसे हो? Like once I was chanting, my round got over in 3.5 minutes. I was really suspicious. So I chanted again. This is too fast. I was not chanting too fast. कुछ तो अंदर कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो गया. So it reached the final beat. So we have to taste and we have to share that. And Shikshashtakam is an expression of Mahaprabhu's tasting himself the deepest love and also sharing it. And Shikshashtakam, all the 8 verses, they take a soul, a devotee, from the lowest stage of bhakti to the highest stage of bhakti. Rupa Goswami, he gives that there are 9 stages of bhakti. Or agar, I'm just ensuring that you know those stages, otherwise the verses they may not make sense that how is that progression happening. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that bhakti begins with faith, with Shraddha. And he especially says that faith is in Paramarthika Shraddha, means something beyond, something that is supremely meaningful, and you have faith about that. It's not just a faith, but it is Paramarthika, that this is the best Paramarth, this is the best purpose for which I can live my life, and towards that there is a small little faith that it starts with. And faith comes by two things. One is explanation, another is experience. Somebody explains to us why this is right, and something we experience. Nobody has to explain to us that this is something that is going to give us happiness. So the explanation is what is philosophy, what is discussion, what is talk, what is Bhagavad Gita. And that he says as Shastrartha Avadharana Mai. The explanation is coming from scriptures. When we understand the meaning of the scriptures, what the scriptures saying, then because of that a kind of faith comes into us. Like Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita and he became free from fear, free from lamentation. So when we hear that, then we develop faith because of the explanations. And the experience, Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls it as Bhagavad Leela Madhurya Lobhamai. That when you taste the sweetness of the pastimes of the Lord, when you hear, like when we usually in a class, what happens? There are explanations and there are narrations. We narrate some pastime and we give some kind of understanding why Krishna was not bound or why is Krishna crying. But the pastime itself, which when we get absorbed into, then we experience a taste, then we experience that yes, now that I have experienced it, then there is more faith, yes, it will work, it works. This also is called as that one is analysis, another is absorption. So you analyze how this material world is temporary, how the relationships, they don't last in the same mode in which they start. All this is analysis. And absorption is in Krishna Lila, when we just sit and hear the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, or sit in the kirtan and just absorb ourselves. We don't analyze much there, that why is Krishna playing the flute, why not some other instrument. We just absorb into that Krishna played the flute and it was so enchanting that it just made the entire Vrindavan go into stunned mode, that nothing was moving there. So either because of these two, our bhakti starts, the Shraddha starts. And I will give a short summary of the 9 stages of bhakti. It is first begins with Shraddha, the first stage. Faith can come when we see somebody who is amongst us becoming a better person because of bhakti. Gaurav was saying that the devotee who was preaching to him, he was also very good in academics. So because of that, he kind of had a faith. If he is good in academics and if he is telling about bhakti, it must be good. But say somebody who fails in is a failure. If he comes and says bhakti is good, will we accept it? Very less chance. That yes, he may better. We kind of extrapolate whatever they did in one activity into another activity. Even myself, when I was just coming, there was one senior of mine who got into Deloitte He was studying at IIT Bombay, but an American company, they picked him up from the from our campus, and he was not even really a topper. He was a very nice devotee. Later, he became investment banker at Wall Street, and but he was very unattached to either getting a job or not. So he went to the interview without any kind of anxiety, tension. He was very confident that हाँ मुझे पता है तो बताऊंगा नहीं तो नहीं. And this American firm, more than the knowledge, they like this guy's confidence, and they said we want this guy, such guys, because you have to sell, billions of dollars of stocks and different things. So when he got this very nice offer, so my faith in bhakti increased. अगर भक्ति करेंगे तो कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ेगा, because we are all lack of confidence, especially when things like bigger than what we are used to handle. So faith can come from association, faith can come from the philosophy, faith can come from experience. So somehow or other that Shraddha, it takes root in our, and then because of that faith we start to associate more. That sometimes because of the sadhu sangha faith comes, or when there is faith we take to sadhu sangha even more seriously, sincerely, regularly. पहले शायद कभी कभी जाते थे, now we want to go more and more regularly. So sadhu sangha is association of saintly people, saintly devotees. And what do they do in that sangha? It's not that they chit chat, they talk about what's happening in the world. They do bhajana kriya. They hear and chant, they practice the path of bhakti. Madchitta, madgata prana, bodhayanta parasparam, katayantasya mam nityam, tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. So in the association of devotees, there may be some, some chit chat, some kind of, but any association of devotees, there will be some form of kirtan, some katha, some discussion about spiritual topics. Otherwise, if some bhajan doesn't happen, only bhojan happens, then it may not be sadhu sangha. There has to be bhajana kriya, that you practice. Now you take the mala into your hands, you take the book into your hands, and you also want to do the practice. And because of that bhajana, all the heart, all the things that are in the heart, they start to get churned. And when you churn, what happens? All that is heavy, it separates from the light. You all know when we churn, why the butter comes out? Because that's the heaviest part of the milk. So it separates from the lighter part, which is buttermilk. Chas or butter, they get separated because now there is churning. More and more you churn, more and more that pressure is there, that centrifugal force, what they call in physics, that applies and separates. So whatever is not you, all that is painted upon you, posted upon you, all the impurities that have been come upon us, all those things which are called as anarthas, they start to get removed, purified from the heart. So it is anartha nivritti, purification. And this is a difficult stage in path of bhakti, because many of us are very much attached to those unwanted things. Like one devotee was sharing in the Bhagavatam class. Unfortunate thing is now that we have wants that we don't need, and there are needs that we don't want. And so many unessential things, just like children are so kind of glued to mobiles. So that's not something that is healthy for them, but they are so glued to it. So we may be attached to wealth or prestige or some attachment that we have, and it is not really valuable. Artha means that something that is valuable, and anartha means something that is not valuable. And especially if you want to climb up, go up in your spiritual life, like hiking, you have to be light. A journey with a heavy baggage is very cumbersome. So as you go up, you have to start to see what is that is. अभी मैं वो पानी का बॉटल कैरी कर रहा था, अभी उसमें पानी खत्म हो गया, and it's a steel bottle, and I'm on the trek up. I don't need to carry that. I can leave it. But you will, ये 1000 रुपए का बॉटल है, and you may be carrying it, and like that so many things जिसका यूज आपके जीवन में अभी हो गया है. There was a time when that relationship, when that particular object was your servant, was your helping hand. But after a while, that same relationship or that same need, that same thing, may be just a burden, because it's no more helping you, it's actually burdening you. But still we carry that, because now that we have used it, we get attached to it. So the post 40 or post 50 life should be, what are all those things internally that I need to now shed off? So that is another level. So all those unwanted things that are in the heart, they have to be, I don't really, Prabhupada calls it as unnecessary necessities. That we make so many things around us that iske bina I can't survive if I am not having a palatial home in this particular building, or if I am not having this much bank account, or this or that, if this person doesn't connect to me, or if I am not in their good books. So many, all these we make as necessities, and the reason why, and the proof of that is you are thinking about them so much. You may not say they are necessities, but you are thinking about them so much. So they are anarthas. So what the chanting does, what the Mahamantra does, is that first of all it helps us to see our heart, diagnosis, that ये ज़रूरत है, ये अभी ज़रूरत नहीं है. Because unless you see something is not wanted, you cannot let it go. That's why when people hear, अरे बहुत कुछ छोड़ना पड़ता है भक्ति में आने के बाद. You have to leave meat, you have to leave alcohol. I was meeting one devotee who is in army, and it said that in the army, it's a custom, it's kind of a ritual. If some friend visits your house, or you visit some else's friend's house, as a parting gift, they have to give a liquor bottle, okay, a wine bottle. And this man became a devotee. How can he give wine or accept wine? Because now he is after divine, after Krishna. So then he started to give people books, Bhagavad Gita or Journey Home. And people were saying, wine kidhar? Said, this book will give you divine. So please take this. It's a divine book. It may not be a wine bottle, but it's a divine book. Have it. Of course, not everyone appreciates, but still he stuck to his ground. And some friends started to read in the army. So you start to see that I don't really have to subscribe to social norms to lose my soul, to lose my spiritual identity. But there may be some places where you may need to be normal, the way you dress, especially when you go to work. So the anartha nivritti is purification of all the unnecessary necessities, which happens the more and more we practice bhakti, more and more we chant Hare Krishna. When there is nishtha. Nishtha means steadiness, that now your anarthas can no longer distract you from the path. They may disturb you, but they cannot take you out of the path. So you are steady on the path of bhakti, like most devotees. They have a fixed quota of their sadhana in chanting, in reading, in attending classes. And the next stage is ruchi, taste, that once you become steady in your practice, then you start to relish it. Problem is, we want to first relish it, then we want to become steady. But till you become steady, just like exercise. If you are doing once in a while, do you relish it? You don't. Do you get benefited from it? No. But if you do steadily, initially same process, anartha nivritti will happen. All the aches will come. Just last week I started some kind of rigorous exercises. One devotee was telling me. And in 3 days all my joints became so stiff. I couldn't even do dandavat. Because all the muscles became so stiff. And because अभी तक मैंने उनको उस तरह से ट्रेन ही नहीं किया था, so they were relaxing. So all that laziness that is in the body, which is a unnecessary thing, now I have started to test it. So initially तो pain करेगा, and only when you become steady in that practice, then you get taste. And once you get taste, the next is asakti, which is attachment. You become attached to chanting, that you become attached to reading Bhagavatam, you become attached to coming to the temple. Now these are all things are there in us, thoda thoda. Not like we are at the highest stage or the purest stage of attachment. Then there is bhava, just feelings of that love for Krishna. And then the highest is called as prema, the higher prema bhakti niryasa korile aswada. So the highest level, the true love of God is the last stage. Mahaprabhu says this is the goal of life, prema pumarto maha, to achieve that unflinching love of God. And when we don't chant properly, when we don't do bhakti properly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there is a semblance of bhakti which he calls as pratibimba. Pratibimba means it looks like bhakti, but it is actually a shadow. So it's not full form, nor is it actually bhakti when we don't chant properly. So therefore Mahaprabhu came to give us the process which will take us to the highest stage of bhakti. And that's why he says Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. That the only process, only road that doesn't have a dead end, that takes you till the last point, is the chanting of the holy names, the congregational chanting of the holy names. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtana. So Vijay means victory, right? So when we say victory, that means there is a war. So the process of bhakti is a war. And in that war, the main weapon that will take us through, the main shield, is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. And then in the Shishashtakam, the first verse, he glorifies the 7 benefits or 7 ways in which bhakti or chanting of Hare Krishna, holy names, it helps us, it blesses us. These are called as the 7 excellences of the holy name. The first is Cheto Darpana Marjana. 7 excellences of the holy name. So, Cheta means consciousness, and Darpana means mirror. And in the times of Mahaprabhu, the Darpan that is usually in the olden times is not this silicon made mirrors that we have now, silica based. In the olden times there used to be metal based mirrors, and our mirror, the mirrors that we use currently, they don't catch much dust. If they catch also, it's very easy to just remove the dust. But Mahaprabhu, what he is referring to is this metallic mirrors, and even like silver. Silver, if it is very pure and clean, it can show you the image. Or sometimes even marble. Marble, if it is really well polished, you can actually see in it, see yourself. Or this copper, this also. This, if it's really clean and plain, you can see yourself. So these were the mirrors that were used then. And these mirrors, they are affected by atmosphere very quickly. If you keep something copper, something silver in the atmosphere, especially in a coastal region, they get bad very fast. कितने सारे houses in Bombay, they decay much faster, the painting goes much faster because of all the salty wind that comes. And so these mirrors or these vessels, they have to be cleaned thoroughly with particular detergents or whatever, or imli. So that's what is marjana. Marjana means thoroughly cleaning the mirror of the mind. Else we will not be able to see ourselves clearly. We many times just identify with the body that we are seeing, and this is a very strong covering. We can't really see in others them as spirit souls, nor can we see ourselves at the spiritual level. So what chanting does is that it starts to give you the eyes, the proper vision to identify yourself, to see yourself. Cheto Darpana Marjana. And this Marjana is a daily or regular affair, because there is lot of dirt that has accumulated. Lifetimes, sometimes. Depends on the intensity also. It said that in bhakti either we become restless कि कभी मिलेगा, इतना intense करते हैं that I want to become pure today or tomorrow. Or in bhakti you become hopeless, पता नहीं कभी होगा, that I just keep doing mediocre kind of bhakti. जब आएगा तभी आएगा, because मेरे एफर्ट से तो कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. But उत्साह निश्चय धैर्य, to be enthusiastic, at the same time to be patient. Best example is Shabari. Shabari, she was told by her guru that Lord Ram will come. So please be ready to receive him and serve him. But her guru, I think Matanga Rishi, he didn't tell her when he will come, what date he will come. So she was prepared every day. Every day she was cleaning the whole ashram, keeping the prasad ready, keeping the garlands ready, that Lord Ram may come today. But it was literally years and years. In some books it said 1,000 years. It took 1,000 years after her guru left. Everybody went to Vaikuntha. They had left her to do this service and then come. और जंगल में अकेली, ऐसा नहीं कि और कुछ टास्क है. But she was enthusiastic but patient also. She didn't lose her patience. मैं आते ही नहीं है रोज, इतना सा एफर्ट करती हूँ. She, and one day Lord Ram came to accept her service. So same way, when we keep diligently working, we don't know when we get ready. When the Lord thinks that we are ready, then that day He comes. But till then, the holy name has this effect that when we chant, we experience these different benefits of the chanting of the holy name. Bhava Maha Davani Nirvapana. Bhava means this material world is called as Bhavaloka or Bhavasagar. Suna hoga na? So there is Bhavasagar in spiritual world, an ocean of emotions, feelings for Krishna, and Bhavasagar in this material world. What does Bhava mean? Bhava means to become. संभव बोलते हैं, समझ ये हो जाएगा, it is possible. So bhava means to become, means something else that you are not. So this world is always a place of change. The things keep on changing. Last week, the way you thought next week will be, something surprising element comes up, and this week will be entirely different than what you thought last week. You anticipated it will be, isn't it? And now we may be thinking, okay, this is how next week will be. But next week, some other thing comes up in the world, in our life, in our health, because of which again it's a different scenario. And these are like waves of the changes, and we are constantly struggling to overcome these changes, cope with these changes, and in this way our all the time energy is lost in the Bhavasagar, in this ocean of changes, ocean of things changing their form, people not remaining the same way that they are supposed to be. And these changes ignite great fire, Dhavagni, a forest fire. ऐसा नहीं कि केवल चेंज हो रहा है, वो चेंज के कारण हमारा जीवन इफेक्ट भी हो रहा है. There is troubles that are caused because of the changes that are happening in the world, in the people around us. And what chanting does is that nirvapana, it subdues it. वो जो fire है, that fire that rages within you, fire in the most common sense means that you're upset with someone, something, they are not behaving the way that you expected. So that fire will go down. The external Bhavasagar may be there, but just like when you board a ship, The ship is also in the ocean, but because the ship because it is better equipped to deal with the waves, you are not as bothered as if you are directly in the waters. If you are directly in the waters, you will be constantly disturbed, bothered. Something or other will come and eat you up. So the ship of uh, holy name, it helps us to remain steady. This agni which rises because of people constantly changing their stand, or world changing or bodies changing, nirvana. It removes all the fire that is there. And we'll take one more. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitarana. Kairava is a special kind of lotus. Now lotuses have many names. One of the names of lotus, the many names, one is Pankaja, another is Kamala, another is what is that name? That which is connected to sun. Usually lotuses, they bloom when there is sun, and then they close when the sun is no more there. रात को वो बंद हो जाते हैं, सुबह they bloom, they open up. And but this particular lotus, Padma is also lotus, but I am forgetting the name that is connected to this feature of the sun. कुछ तो अर्क से कुछ है, because Pankaja means that which is in the born of dirt. Panka मतलब dirt. Pankaja मतलब something that is born of dirt. Or Ambuja means something that is born of water. Is again lotus. Sun के साथ भी कुछ नेम है, बहुत सारे हैं. So this particular lotus, Kairava, it's white in color and it opens up under moon. So there is only one lotus that opens to moon and closes. So it opens up this moon, this white lotus of auspiciousness, Shreya. Shreya means auspiciousness. And holy name, in this dark times, even in the dark situations that we are in, the auspicious lotus is opened up by the holy name. Santo, when sun is there, no, everything is lighted up. But currently we are in a dark situation, and the holy name is like that moon, which opens the auspicious white colored lotus. So the essence is that it brings auspiciousness into our life. That one who chants the holy names, Durgadim Tata Kachati, Naiva Kashtin Krite Nato, Krishna tells Arjuna that, O Arjuna, no inauspicious can come one who is my devotee. So why are you thinking that Durgati, mera Durgati ho jayegi? That how can my devotee have any Durgati? So everything that happens to his life becomes auspicious. So because the auspicious white colored lotus has been awakened. So all these verses are very, very poetic and very, they also bring in a lot of natural sequences that happen, so that we also connect to these nature's examples, and also it's a very beautiful way to glorify the holy name. The more, in a very poetic way, Mahaprabhu is glorifying holy names, different qualities. We'll stop here.
So what is Chandrika?
Chandrika is Chandra.
Oh, Chandra. Okay. And Vitarana?
Vitarana means that which opens. Vistaranya. Vitarana means that which distributes or opens up. So any questions about what is Shreya means auspiciousness. Long term auspiciousness. Ultimate auspiciousness. Any questions? Yeah. We'll go first with. Yes. There are total 7. We only took 3. The total 7. And then there's a whole chart how they proceed. And so we'll come one by one to all of them. Any questions from our Zoom attendees, devotees? We have 15 devotees on Zoom. Any question, comment?
Unmuted now, you all can speak.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much. It was nicely explained. It was really very deep. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much.